Hi everyone and welcome to my wildcard draft. Game week 5 has just finished. Yes, I've activated my wildcard. The reason for this is the fixture changes. I've got loads of players in my team that are about to come into difficult fixtures, and there's loads of good players who I don't own are about to come into good fixtures. This is when you use your wild card, especially if you want to use it aggressively and try to capitalize on those fixtures, hopefully propelling us up those mini leagues. You're going to want to stick around. In this video, apart from giving you the full squad, I give you the reasons why I picked these players, the stats to back the picks as I look into different permutations of teams and players. Even if you're not wildcarding, you're going to want to watch. The competition in your mini leagues will be wildcarding, so you want to see what you're up against, as some of those teams will be similar to this team. If this sounds good to you, do me a favor, drop a like and subscribe. Let's get into it. Starting with my goalkeeper, I've decided to spend some big money, 5.6 million on David Raya. Now, why have I spent this money? Well, for a couple of reasons. First of all, Arsenal. Arsenal last season were incredible defensively, the best by some distance. They kept 18 clean sheets, which was first in the league. It looks like this season they're going to either match it or probably beat it. They've started the season very strong defensively. They've already kept 3 clean sheets from 5, and David Raya's got loads of bonus points in that period. His minutes per FPL points is 13.6. Like, he's doing really well, especially for a goalkeeper. When you look around for goalkeepers, not many are scoring at that ratio. And the other reason is the fixtures. Just have a look at this. Leicester at home, Southampton at home, Bournemouth away, Liverpool at home, Newcastle away. You'd like to think in those 5, that's 3 clean sheets right there. This pick is out of my comfort zone. I normally only spend cheap money on my goalkeeper, but this time I'm going for a different strategy. I'm trying to pick a keeper that I can just set and forget and hopefully see those points come in. Let's have a look at my defense, the structure. 2 premium defenders and 1 cheap defenders. And when you see the bench later on, it will make a bit more sense why I've gone for this structure. Gabriel has been a revelation. Since he's joined Arsenal, no other defender has scored as many goals as him. He's so good, not just defensively, but attacking the ball in the opposition box in set plays. He scored against Manchester City. They tried their best to mark him, and this is Manchester City. This is an elite defensive team, and they couldn't stop him. He's that good. And with Arsenal's fixtures, for me, he's locked in my team. Vardy's an interesting one because loads started the season with him and they're frustrated. Some might even be selling. I'm more than happy to jump on. Combination of the fixtures, but also there will be games where he gets the attacking role. Now, last season, the end of it, he was flying. He was basically a winger, striker, whatever you want to call him. This season, he's had a different role, mainly due to Lewis playing, and Lewis has been given permission to invert and attack the box, where Vardy's had to stay more disciplined and support the defense. Against Arsenal, he was given permission because Lewis didn't play. It'll be interesting to see how that materializes as the season goes on. Does he keep that attacking position? Because he's very good at it. Even in that game against a strong Arsenal team, he was making good runs and getting into dangerous positions. But Pep does love Lewis, so it'll be interesting. But when you see the bench later on again, this will all make sense. Konsa's my cheap defender at 4.5 million, and I love it. He was in my team before the wildcard, and I think he's gonna stay there. 2 reasons. First one is the 90 minutes. Like, we need a certain amount of our players in our squad to play 90 minutes. It's getting very difficult with squads getting so big. We had the summer tournament, which managers are cautious of, so they're resting and rotating players. Champions League's got more games, so it's becoming a big issue. When you look through your squad, it's getting very difficult to find 90-minute players. Konsa's one of those, so that's a big tick. The second one is he plays for Aston Villa. They're an excellent team. They've already showed themselves. I mean, last season they got into the Champions Leagues, and Unai Emery is going to want to be there next season. They've started the season really well, so I love Konsa. He's an easy pick, and you can rotate with the bench players. Obviously, with defenders, we're chasing clean sheets, and fixtures are pivotal to this. So having a quick look at the fixtures, let's start with Arsenal. I spoke about them. Look at this. Leicester at home, Southampton at home, and Bournemouth away. Those 3 fixtures, you'd assume 2 cleans. Aston Villa, Ipswich away, Manchester United at home, Fulham away, Bournemouth at home, and Tottenham away. Again, gorgeous fixtures. Konsa's very good, and you'd like to see some cleans there. And last up, looking at City's fixtures, they've got Newcastle away, then they've got Fulham at home, Wolves away, Southampton at home, Bournemouth away. These are really good fixtures, giving myself the best probability to get some clean sheets. Attacking returns is a bonus. It's hard to predict that or anticipate that with defensive players. So as you can see, I've looked at the fixtures. I've tried to pick the best players from those teams with the best fixtures. Looking at my midfield, I've gone for 1 premium midfielder, and that's Saka. He completes my Arsenal triple up. At one stage, I was thinking one defensive Arsenal player and two attackers, someone like Havertz or Odegaard. Odegaard got injured, so obviously he's not in the picture. And the thinking here is there are other attackers who could keep up with someone like Havertz, but I don't think there's many defenders who can keep up with someone like Gabriel. So that really confirmed my thinking. I want two defensive players and one attacker. Also, loads are going to have one Arsenal defender. So to make any gains, if Arsenal keep a clean sheet, you're going to need two. In some cases, you're going to see teams with triple Arsenal defense. That's how strong they are defensively, and I can see people going down that way. But Saka for me was a lovely pick. Penalty taker, set piece taker, and pivotal to Arsenal's team. I know he got taken off against Manchester City, but that was more due to the tactical change, as they needed to leave Martinelli on for the counter-attacks. They knew they were going to be pinned back for the second half. Besides Saka, I've got two medium-priced midfielders, and that's Mbeumo and Eza. Now, starting with Mbeumo, his fixtures are gorgeous. He was always coming into my team. In fact, he was one of the players that I highlighted a couple of weeks ago when I knew I was going to commit to a wildcard 6. He's one of the players that stood out for me. The fixtures are incredible. With Tony gone and Wissa injured, the majority of the attacks for Brentford are going to come through Mbeumo. And with those fixtures and at that price point, it was a no-brainer. In fact, if you've seen the 2 goals he scored recently, this is a player playing with confidence. Eza is an interesting one. He's another player in this team where you're almost thinking, surely you can do better. Loads are frustrated, loads have sold him, hence why he went down. He's 6.9 million. But for me, he keeps on getting into the box, getting the chances. In fact, game week 5, he should have scored. It was an easy chance for him, and he knew he fluffed it. What I really like about him, he's still getting the shots off. He's still pivotal to the attack. He's still taking specific set pieces. Yes, the penalties are a bit of a question mark with Mateta taking the last one. I still really like him, and I'm finding it very difficult to get rid of him from my team. And last up in the midfield is Rodgers. Now, he's a bargain player, but he's been outstanding. He's playing way above that price range. He's played, I think, 90 minutes in every game. He's clearly pivotal to this Aston Villa team. He's dodged a lot of points, but game week 5, he did return for his owners. He got 2 assists and he got some bonus points, so it was lucky if you already owned him. Now, at that price point, you can play him for the lovely fixtures, or you could bench him when the fixtures are difficult. Plays in a very attacking position, supporting Watkins, driving through the middle. For me, he's an easy wildcard pick. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's so many other options, and I really have to fit them in, but budget is very tight. Now, the obvious midfielders who are missing from this team, and please get in the comments and let me know if there's other midfielders I'm not considering or someone you think is going under the radar that I should consider. Mohamed Salah has been excellent this season, but at his price point, 12.8 million, if you're not going to captain him, there is no point owning him. That's my take on it, and I absolutely love him. For years, he's always been the main guy in my team, but I'm wildcarding and not bringing him in. The other Liverpool attacker who's currently the highest scoring midfielder and not too expensive is Diaz. He's only 7.9 and someone I'm really considering bringing in. He's a player that could still make the team. It's not easy, but I am looking to move a couple of players to maybe bring him in because he has been pivotal to Slot's attacking team. The only frustrating thing with Diaz is Liverpool have so much attacking talent. Chiesa, Gakpo, Nunes, and that means he could be coming off early. And so far this season, he has been getting taken off, whether it's 60th, 65th, 70th, which is frustrating because in the latter minutes of games, that's when they open up and goals are there. So it's quite frustrating. It's one of the things that put me off him, but he's one that could make the draft. That's what I'm saying to you. I've not completely closed the door on him, where with Salah, I think I've made a commitment to the structure that I'm not going to go him. Palmer's another player. He's like the alpha of the Chelsea team. Set piece taker, penalty taker, playing in the number 10 position behind a very attacking Chelsea. But with Palmer, the decision was between him and Saka, and I've gone for Saka because of the next 3 fixtures, and I think the minutes are much more secured. I didn't like the way Palmer got taken off in game week 5. Yes, Chelsea were comfortable and they were going to win the game, but I know Marasca's got attacking talent, similar to what I said about Slot and Diaz. But I'm not happy about that price point. With Diaz, you can almost accept it around the 7 million mark. When you're talking 10 million mark, they need to be like Saka and play every minute. And then you've got Son, but like Palmer, he's in competition with Saka, and he's the one I've favoured because of the next 3 fixtures. So that's my midfield. Obviously, with a wild card, I'm trying to bring players in who can stay for a good amount of time in my team. But naturally, once I build out a couple of transfers, I will be moving some of them across to other players who I think have got better fixtures or better predicted points. Now up front, let's start with the obvious one, Haaland. I think he's making a mockery of the Premier League this season. I've said it a couple of times in my previous videos. They should have made him even more expensive. At the start of the season at £15 million, loads thought, nah, it's too expensive. I can get 2 other players that can match him or maybe beat him. I think that thinking has gone out the window and everyone's buying him. Hence why, look at his price now. He's 15.3. For me, he was one player in my team that I didn't even consider. He's 100% in my team. I looked at so many different permutations, so many different players, different strategies. He fits every strategy. It's as simple as that. So Haaland's the super premium. Beside him, I've gone for Ollie Watkins, who I would say is still a premium striker. He started the season pretty slow. Didn't look himself, but the last 2 game weeks he has looked good. He's played the minutes and he's returned. As you can see, I'm backing Aston Villa in this wildcard. I've got a triple up with Aston Villa. I mean, you can understand it with the Arsenal, but the Villa one, I was quite surprised myself that I ended up on a triple up. With Ollie Watkins, I did consider a cheaper striker. There's so much in the Premier League at the moment, and then maybe move that money into midfield or a defense, but every permutation I tried, it didn't look as good as having Watkins in the team. This is how highly I rate Watkins. I think in the next 4 game weeks, I'm expecting 3 attacking returns minimum. And my last striker is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Yes, I can see you smiling. I do have an Everton striker in my team. Now with this, he is not locked in. There's a couple of players in my team which are 100%ers, whether it's Saka, Gabriel, Haaland, yeah, no problem. There's a couple of players that you never know they could move, but he's one there is a question mark over him. First of all, there's a lot of options. I considered someone like Woods, Pedro, who I had in my team already, there's Welbeck, there's Vardy, there's so many cheap options and they are producing the goods. Another thing that puts me off is I don't want to bring him in and then have to make an early transfer because he has got injury worries before. Very rarely this guy stays fit for a long period of time. And the last thing that's on my mind is Everton. I mean, it sounds bad to say it, but they're not the best team. They're potentially fighting relegation this season. They've not won a game so far. So why do I have him in my team? Well, this one is strictly a fixtures play. Another thing is he's their main attacker, so the majority of the attacks should come through him. And then you add penalty taking. Put those 3 together, you'd like to think there's some probability of some good attacking returns. And at that price point, I can also rotate him with bench players. Let's take a deeper look at why I'm picking these strikers. With Haaland, do we really need to look at any stats? But why not? Let's just make ourselves laugh. Minutes per shots, 17 minutes, he's having a shot. So every 17 minutes, you're talking at least 4 to 5 shots per game, and with him, there tend to be excellent shots. He's had 26 goal attempts in 5 game weeks, and then 10 goals. I mean, do we need to say any more? It's ridiculous. Watkins is having a shot every 27 minutes, but I have to say this. First 3 game weeks, he wasn't playing the full minutes. He was getting taken off at the 60th minute, so that impacts his stats. And also, he didn't look himself. So only the last 2 game weeks, he looks like the Ollie Watkins of last season. He's had 13 goal attempts, which is not too bad considering his minutes, and he scored 3 goals. Doesn't look as impressive as Haaland's one, but we need to remove Haaland's stats from our mind because there's nothing like it. DCL stats are not that great. Again, I did say to you, this one's a bit more of a punty move. He's having a shot every 37 minutes. He's had 11 goal attempts, which is not too bad. You have to consider Everton have had difficult fixtures and they've just started the season poorly. And he's got 2 goals, which is pretty good considering how bad they've started. So you'd like to think that's going to really increase as the fixtures change, and the fixture change is really good. Coming up, he's got Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Ipswich, Fulham, Southampton, West Ham, Brentford. That's all in a row. You'd like to think there, as long as he stays fit, he's going to get chances. And maybe, who knows, 2 penalties in that fixture run. So that's my attacking 3. Let me know what you think in the comments. Have you got a better attacking 3 than this? Let's have a look at the bench. I've got a non-playing goalkeeper. I've kept Matthews, but that could change if I think there's a better second goalkeeper. Smith Rowe is on the bench at 5.7 million. I still think he's excellent value. You could go cheaper and move that money elsewhere, but for me, I can see him. He's a goal-scoring midfielder at that price point. Fulham's fixtures might not be great, but at that price point, I can rotate him between the other midfielders and defenders. Next up on the bench, I've gone for Lewis at 4.7 million. This has potential to be a huge flop or an incredible bargain. When he has played for City, he's been incredible, so attacking, always in the box, and it's incredible he hasn't had many attacking returns. Of course, the reason I said it could flop, Kyle Walker started against Arsenal. It's not a good sign where once they play a big team, straight away Pep reverts back to his tried and trusted Walker. I think I'm in the position where I'd rather start with him than without him. Can you imagine if he does start? 4.7 million for a City defender with those upcoming fixtures. outrageous. And last up, I've got Greaves from Ipswich. This is a bargain basement player. It's one of those players you hope you never have to use in a game week, but the good thing is if you do, it's a 1 or 2 pointer, but you would take it because he plays 90 minutes. So that's my 15-man team. It's made up of 3 Arsenal, 3 Villa, 3 Man City, 2 Crystal Palace, 1 Fulham, 1 Brentford, Everton and Ipswich. I'm amazed I don't have players from those teams, but I couldn't afford it. I had to do the best I could and I wanted to be aggressive with the upcoming fixtures. Now this team cost me 99.8 million. It might be cheaper or more for you depending on how many you already had in your squad or how many you get after the price rises. Got 0.3 million in the bank. Not much, but hopefully gives me a bit of give. So if I wanted to make a move and the player goes up by 0.1, I've got that in the bank. So that's quite a nice little luxury as well. I hope you enjoyed the video, but more importantly, I hope you found the video useful. Are you wildcarding? If yes, get in the comments and list down your team. I'll rate it, but also I'm intrigued to see what other FPL managers are doing. And as well, have I missed any key players? Let me know. Now, before you jump off to your next video, do me a favor, like, subscribe and share the video. I'm trying to reach my next milestone, which is 1,000 subscribers. And I'd love it if you would get me there. On that note, I'm gonna wish you good luck and see you in my next video.